This is Financial Management and Fundraising. I am Craig Evers, brand new president of the Mortarboard National Foundation from Ohio State circa '01. I'm joined today by Liz Cook
Everyone, Director of Strategic Advancement at the Mortarboard National Office. And
and Kaylee Weicker.
Hi, everybody. I am the, as of today, National Council Treasurer, and I was initiated at Ohio Northern in 2010.
What French aviator and author Antoine de Saint-Exupéry said, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So let's talk about goals and planning so we don't wish we had done something differently. Kaylee, I'll hand it to you for this slide.
Perfect. So, budget planning. First thing to ask yourself is what are your goals for the year? For your chapter, what do you want to end the year with, not only financially, but as a whole? And to get there, unfortunately, money matters. So you're going to want to think about two big topics. Income. Where's your income coming from? A lot of chapters have local dues that they collect either through the national office or by themselves. And something that a lot of chapters may not take advantage of, but I highly encourage you to at least look into, is university funds. A lot of universities, whether it's through student government or the student affairs office, offer funds to organizations if you basically just apply for them. So if you don't already know where to get those funds, I highly encourage you to ask around and find out where that money is hiding. And apply for it. A lot of times they'll give you money to have events, to fund your meetings, to fund travel for the year, to do whatever you need to do with if you just ask for it. The opposite of that is obviously your expenses. Some expenses that we encourage you to remember are your annual chapter fee, which is $350 a year to Mortarboard National Office. Anything you'll need for your meetings, supplies, food for your members. That's a great way to get people to meetings. So you'll need to pay for that. If you have events, what do you need for those events to make them happen? Can you get donations from alumni from your university for those events? Where can that money come from? If you're going to buy graduation regalia for your chapter members at the end of the year, you need a way to fund that. As well as every other year right now, our conference is in person and chapters are responsible for paying for their delegates' travel. So next year, when conference is in person, those delegates are going to need a way to get to conference. So start thinking ahead about funds to reimburse them for travel to conference. There are obviously other things, but a lot of times they're specific to the chapters. So how do you get that money? A lot of times it's fundraising. Fundraising is the process of raising money or resources to support your initiatives as your chapter, that being activities and what your goals are. This can include funding for events, community service projects, scholarships, leadership programs, and operational expenses. Why is that important? Well, like I said earlier, if you don't have money, you can't do things. A lot of things. Some things you can do for free, but not a lot. It enhances your chapter's efforts to recognize academic excellence, engage in those service initiatives, and provide your members with opportunities for growth and development. I already mentioned that annual chapter fee and initiation supplies. And then again, just make sure you're thinking about all of the service projects or any bonding activities or leadership programs that you want to do throughout the year when you're planning your fundraising efforts. Some strategies to think about when you're considering fundraising. What kind of fundraisers are you going to do? Are you going to have a sale, sell items or services, bake sales, t-shirts, things like that? Are you going to partner with an external group or company to do a fundraiser? There are corporate and organizational partnerships that you can pursue, like Dine to Donate with different restaurants in your area that can be very easy fundraisers for you to do. And finally, are you going to do an event-based fundraiser? We've had chapters do concerts. We've had chapters do blanket fort building. So there are a lot of different kinds of event-based fundraisers that you can also do to raise those funds. So the sky's the limit when it comes to fundraising. Some tips and strategies to think about when you're planning and executing some fundraisers. Some helpful tips that we have kind of gathered throughout the years. The ideal number of fundraising events for a chapter is 2 to 3 per year, or about one per semester. As we talked about yesterday, you don't want to get yourselves burnt out trying to plan 6 or 8 events a year when you are already some of the busiest students on campus. Make sure that you're leveraging school-specific events and programs. Fundraising efforts that tie into these initiatives tend to be the most successful. Things that are already happening that you can kind of build upon as fundraisers are the easiest things to do. When you are doing those fundraisers, make sure that you are sharing the reason that you're fundraising and clearly communicate Mortar Board's goals and ideals. When people hear about scholarship, leadership, and service as a tie-in to that fundraiser, they're more likely to give. And if they were already going to give, they're more likely to give more. Engage your community, involve your students, your alumni, and the local community to generate excitement for whatever fundraiser you're doing. Think outside the box when you're having these fundraisers. Your university is located within a community. Get those people excited and tie them into your fundraisers if you can. Always, always, always utilize social media to spread the word. Share updates and encourage participation. And then a lot of people love to see those after event pictures, totals, what you were able to accomplish. Make sure you share those, especially with the national office, because they absolutely love to spotlight great fundraisers for chapters. And when you are done, after you've posted those pictures on social media, make sure that you send out your thank you notes. Recognize those people who helped support your organization and that fundraiser, and send updates to any donors to show your appreciation to them, because they're more likely to come back and help you again if they're appreciated for the times that they've done it before. Some key considerations to think about while you're planning your fundraisers. Check in with student affairs to make sure you don't, if you have to have permission, or make sure that you have a space to do your event, that you do that ahead of time. Think about who your audience is. Is it the students? Is it including your faculty and staff, or alumni, parents, or the local community? And tailor your fundraising messages to those audiences so that you make sure that you're getting the most return on your investment in social media. Think about the cost of the event versus your desired process. Budget that in advance. Make sure that you're going to come out ahead. Fundraisers aren't useful if they're costing you money and not making you money. And if it's sales-based fundraising, is there an interest or a demand for what you're looking to sell? Like I've mentioned before, food is always a big hit. You can sell pretty much any kind of food, and there will be interest in the student body, and a lot of times with the faculty and staff too. And finally, how are you going to accept payment? Online payment platforms are great if you can generate a QR code that makes it really, really easy to collect money from people. Make sure that you have that set up and linked, whether it's Venmo, PayPal, Apple Pay, whatever that be. If you can take credit or debit card payments, a lot of times that's easier too, because most people carry around their credit or debit cards. They don't always carry cash or checks, which are a little antiquated at this point, but I did carry checks and I pay with them still. So someone will give you a check on occasion. So make sure you can accept that. Some other key considerations, make sure you're setting a realistic timeline. As much as Tamara said that, you can plan an event in 6 weeks or less, or 80 events in 6 weeks or less, I wouldn't encourage it. So make sure that you're giving yourself plenty of time to plan these events in advance. And when you're planning those events, make sure that you have support from your chapter. You don't have to do it alone. That's what the chapter is there for. Create a committee, reach out to the chapter as a whole, and make sure that they are getting involved and assisting with the event planning and the execution of the event, as well as clean up afterwards. That is one thing that people sometimes forget to think about, is after the event, people need to stick around and pick up sometimes. Also, be mindful when you're setting the event budget. Think about the overall effect you want to have, and some expenses to keep in mind are general chapter expenses, service event costs, and then the chapter budget support from other avenues, like I mentioned, university support. Now, we talked a little bit about planning, but I wanted to go into it a little bit deeper here, just to talk about, how to set those timelines. Your initial planning, 1 to 4 months before the event, depending on the size of the event. Smaller events, you can get away with a shorter planning timeline, but if you're doing something big like a concert, you need to start planning well in advance to make sure that everything's taken care of for that. During initial planning, you want to set your goals, define your budget and your audience, make sure you're selecting your date and your venue, assigning roles for the different committees or people that are going to be involved, setting up that fundraising platform if you need it, and securing approval from your campus affairs. After that, you want to talk event logistics. This is usually 3 weeks to a month before the event. You're going to confirm if you have speakers or entertainment, the details that go along with that, secure any vendors that you need, recruit volunteers, and order event materials to make sure that you have those in plenty of time for your event. Third step is that promotion. That's in the days and weeks leading up to your event. If you're going to do it, a multi-pronged approach, make sure you're selecting those means of promotion, developing your messaging for different audiences, and marketing with countdowns or teaser posts and things like that. Launch your ticket sales if those are applicable to your event, and then personally reach out to those key donors to make sure that they're attending the event that they supported. And the week of your event, those final preparations, make sure you're finalizing your program, confirming all your logistics, talking to volunteers and making sure they're going to be where they said they would be when they said they would be there. Send your final reminders, set up for the event, and then it's off and you're checking in your attendees. Just a quick note, Tamika, yes, most of these slides are actually already on the website under the fundraising area, so you can find those there. And Craig is going to talk about Blossom Express.
Yeah, let me take a little bit of time here to talk about a partnership that's been beneficial for Mortarboard for years now. Blossom Express is an all-expense paid chapter fundraising opportunity to sell flowers at graduation. And we'll take a look at the next slide. There we go. Some details of this. Blossom Express provides flowers for sale for graduation. Chapters receive 30% of all the gross sales, and the chapter can claim that funds basically as soon as the event is done. During the spring 2024 commencement cycle, the average chapter return from Blossom Express was over $3,000. And for many chapters, that's the only fundraiser they need each year. Just a few notes on Blossom Express role. They'll send the chapters the necessary supplies. They'll be available for support, and they'll provide those step-by-step instructions on flower care and what to do with the leftovers. The chapter is responsible for obviously staffing at graduation, maintaining contact with Blossom Express, and setting the groundwork with campus and the graduation planning team. For the timeline, with Blossom Express, you're talking 3 to 5 months in advance of commencement. And that means if you've got early May commencement, it is not too early to be thinking about this in December. Step one, contact who manages campus graduation to make sure that you can get Blossom Express approved as a fundraiser. Once you've got that secured, coordinate with Blossom Express to organize the fundraiser and communicate those event details. Next, you'll coordinate staffing with Mortarboard volunteers in the active chapter or possibly local alumni to ensure the tables are covered throughout the day. And on graduation day, you'll use the supplies and instructions to go ahead and assemble the bouquets, sell, and post-event cleanup. Next slide. And 90% of flower sales occur during 2 hours before commencement. So you got to make sure that those tables are staffed during that time. And if possible, volunteers should wear Mortarboard t-shirts for visibility because, students who are graduating sometimes have younger siblings who might be interested in Mortarboard. And you're providing a service for panicked parents who have forgotten to get flowers for their graduating student. And there's no opportunity for margin and fundraising like panicked parents. And next slide. And then, I'm sorry. Before I hand off for some additional campaign examples, we'll look at some of the questions real quick, see if we can answer these right off the bat. I do not know the answer to collaborating with Blossom Express regarding how many buckets or boxes of flowers they will send.
So
Uh,
I'll try and chime in, but if anyone uses Blossom Express here and specifically knows the answer, Blossom Express will basically handle everything for you. So based on the size of your school and your graduating class, I think they are pretty good at estimating how much they think you'll need. I will also mention, I wasn't on the slides here, but if it's the first time that you've partnered with them, you got kind of a special bonus there too, that you get the first $1,000. I think I maybe I'm not throwing that right number out, but you get an additional percentage back to your chapter too. So they're fantastic to work with, and they really give you everything you need to succeed there. See, yes, and they happen on the day of graduation. Kaylee answered that. So you're tabling at graduation ceremony, basically, as Craig mentioned.
And I will say that the main step is talking with your university about getting that permission to use Blossom Express and having a fundraiser at graduation. There are plenty of chapters where this works out great and has worked out great for a long time. There are some universities that just do not have an open ear with this. And the thing is, with that kind of response, sometimes the personnel changes at the university and you ask again, and maybe you'll get a different answer.
Very true. Any other questions on Blossom Express? I will say, I know some FAQs that we get there about Blossom Express is, so they do both, if there's a winter graduation and spring, they'll do both of those graduations. I know obviously spring is generally bigger, which is why they want to plan so far in advance for a December graduation. There's a little, it's not quite as demanding of them, I'll say. They will not do, unfortunately, Mortarboard Week falls during Valentine's Day time, so they will not do anything during that week. So a lot of people, so that's why it's just graduation related for Blossom Express, because they're so busy. Great question. How much do you charge for the flowers? I'm not sure what that is. That's a great question, though. Blossom Express sets that price, but yeah, we can get back to you on that for sure.
Yeah, and Blossom Express has been doing this in geographically across the country for years and years. They have a good sense of how many flowers to send you based on university size, and they have a good sense of pricing for what'll go and what won't go.
And goes without saying, there's links on the Mortarboard website, and I'll kind of, maybe I can find that, or Craig can bring that up while I'm talking. I think I see him gearing up.
I'll go find the link for this and put it in the chat if you want to pick up the slides.
Yeah, that's perfect. So I actually was going to kind of open this up a little, and before I sort of share some fundraising examples, see if anyone has any successful fundraising examples they want to share in the chat, or come off mute and take a minute. So we've had some and good suggestions here, but if not, I can go through a few. But it's always good to collaborate and hear from what other people are doing. So feel free to chime in. We can read through some as I $0. Yes. So here's a great one if you have $0, because you don't have any startup money, right? So Texas Tech, and I'm not sure if you still do this, but partners with the university president for chance to spend the day with the president, right? So it's kind of a raffle it off type situation. No cost to you up front. Someone is just volunteering their time, but it's kind of a fun thing to do for students to be involved in, right? So any of those types of no cost, but get people energized type situations are great for a small chapter too who might not have a lot of funds to put into something. Another one that might be good is kind of the dime for dollars. You partner with a local restaurant, like national chains do it, like Chipotle, right, where you have a mortarboard day, you advertise and you get a percentage of the sales. So that's sort of an easy one to do, but also reach out to, if you're a local restaurant owners. I know I actually live in a small college town, so where Denison University is located, and I know I always see events to support things happening up at Denison. So survival kit sales, but this kind of taps into something that Kaylee mentioned is if there's an event that's specific to your college or university, really try and tap into that. So this is for a music festival that Lawrence University has, but if there's something that you can tie into that the students already know, this tends to be a huge, thing that really attracts students. Yesterday, someone from Penn State was mentioning Thon. They want to tie into there's a huge fundraising event at Penn State. So, like, if there's anything specific to your university that's already happening, if you can tie into that in some way, that's a great opportunity. Sticker sale. So this one is really cute. One of the professors at a university wrote a children's book. So then they sort of tied in with that and made stickers and sold stickers to sort of promote this, support the professor, as well as get, the mortarboard name out there. Pickleball tournament. We were mentioning, I think, yesterday, just a great way to be active and network and all these fun things. Pickleball. I mean, so this seems to be really hot everywhere. Everyone can participate. Obviously, if you have a smaller chapter, launching a tournament might be a little too ambitious, but we're trying to offer various types of fundraisers for various sizes of chapters. But this is a fun one that everyone can get involved in, and students, professors, whoever might be, which is a great thing to sort of involve all of campus, is always a fun fundraiser when you can sort of have all different sort of constituent groups involved. Spooky candy bag. This is, just kind of goes back to college students love food. Who doesn't love candy? So there's a few of these that we have. Candy bag. Got about a minute left. This one, again, dining partnerships, I already mentioned, so I'll kind of donate to Dunk. Again, this has a little startup cost because you'd have to rent the Dunk tank, but again, something that gets people energized. So this is kind of a fun one. Dunkin' Donuts selling coffee, doesn't, whatever, especially during finals time. And a headshot fundraiser. This is a great one if you could have someone volunteer their time, a photography student or whoever, to take headshots and charge for those. That's great. I'm going to kind of skip ahead to say that these slides, as Craig mentioned, are on the website, largely there, but also reach out to me at the national office or chapters at Mortarboard, and we can sort of provide help, guidance, whatever you need as well. So any questions, I guess, before we get kicked out? Maybe I rushed too much. All right, I'll go back. Here's a good one too. Concessions, cleaning up after either selling concessions. You can volunteer and sell at your school, or cleaning up after events is great. And I live in Columbus. I saw that the Huntington Park, where our local baseball team plays, that they invite groups in to help clean up after or do things involved with games. So it doesn't even have to be on your campus. It can be local to your community where you could help. So, well, I hope this was useful for you all, and thanks for joining.
Thank you, everybody.